Okay, so imagine this. You have been planning your wedding for over a year. You have the venue booked, the dress fitted, the flowers ordered, the caterer confirmed, the cake designed, the seating chart color-coded with little sticky notes, and your heart is so full you could cry just thinking about the day. You have given your entire family the date. Multiple times. It is on the group chat. It is on the family calendar. It is literally pinned to your mother-in-law's refrigerator, and then, 2 months before your wedding, your sister-in-law announces that she is throwing her baby shower on the exact same day. Not the week before, not the week after. The exact same Saturday. The same date you have had circled in red on every calendar in a 3-mile radius for over a year. And here is the part that really gets me. She knew. She absolutely knew, and she did it anyway. Welcome back, everyone. If you are new here, I am so glad you found this channel because we are about to get into some of the most jaw-dropping, blood pressure-raising, absolutely unhinged family drama the internet has ever produced. And today's story is one that genuinely made my jaw hit the floor because it is not just about a petty scheduling conflict. It is about someone who looked at one of the most important days of another woman's life and decided that her baby shower, which, by the way, could have been on literally any other day on the planet, was more important. And we are reacting to the incredible Charlotte Dobre's take on this. Because if you have not watched Charlotte break down a revenge story, you are genuinely missing out. She brings the energy, the outrage, and the commentary that this kind of story absolutely deserves. So let's get into it, because every layer of this is worse than the last. So, our narrator, let's call her the bride, because that is exactly what she is, has been with her fiancé for several years. They got engaged, they set a date, they did everything right. She tells the whole family. She tells them early. She is organized, she is excited, she is considerate. She even made sure the date did not conflict with any major holidays or family events before booking the venue. She thought of everyone, because that is the kind of woman she is. She is the one in the family who actually thinks things through. Now, the sister-in-law, her fiancé's sister, has been a bit of a complicated character throughout the relationship. Not outright horrible, but the kind of person who always needs to be the center of attention. The kind of woman who cannot let anyone else have a moment without making it somehow about herself. You know the type. Every family has one. She is not evil necessarily. She is just deeply, profoundly allergic to not being the main character in every room she walks into. So when the bride gets engaged and the whole family is celebrating and fussing over her and talking about the wedding, the sister-in-law handles it about as gracefully as you would expect, which is to say, not at all. She smiles to your face and then very quietly starts laying the groundwork to steal the spotlight back. And when she gets pregnant, which is genuinely wonderful news, congratulations, truly, she sees her opportunity. Because a baby shower is a big deal. People bring gifts, people fuss over you, people make you the center of attention, and if you schedule it on the same day as your brother's wedding, well then the whole family has a choice to make, don't they? Now here is where it gets really strategic, and this is the part that Charlotte absolutely zeroed in on, because it is not an accident. The sister-in-law does not just casually pick that date without thinking. She picks it deliberately. She announces it in the family group chat, all sweetness and excitement, as if she has no idea whatsoever that there is already a major family event on that day. She posts something like, "So excited to announce the date for baby's shower," with a bunch of little balloon emojis and hearts, and she just casually drops the date, the bride's wedding date, like it is nothing. Like it is just a random Saturday in autumn that nobody has any prior claim to. And the family's reaction is where it starts to get really telling. Because some of them, not all of them, but some, start saying things like, "Oh, that's so exciting, and can't wait." And the bride is sitting there reading this thread thinking, am I crazy? Am I losing my mind? Did everyone forget that this is my wedding day? Am I invisible right now? She reaches out to her fiancé, obviously, and he is upset too, which is good. This is important, because in so many of these stories, the partner either does nothing or makes excuses for their family. And the fact that he is immediately on her side matters. He calls his sister and asks what is going on, and the sister's response is genuinely one of the most infuriating things I have ever heard. She says that she did not realize it was the same day. She just picked a date that worked for her, and that the bride should not be upset because the baby shower is a smaller event and the wedding is still the bigger deal. Like, oh well, as long as we all agree the wedding is still important, then it is totally fine that I scheduled a competing event on the exact same day. Problem solved. Everybody calm down. Charlotte's reaction to this is everything, because she immediately clocks what is happening. This is not a mistake. This is a power move wrapped in a little bow of plausible deniability. The sister-in-law gave herself just enough cover. I didn't realize, to avoid being the outright villain, while still accomplishing exactly what she wanted, which is to force the family to split their attention, to create drama around the wedding, and to make herself and her baby the topic of conversation at what should be the most joyful pre-wedding period of this woman's life. And Charlotte says something in her reaction that I think is so spot on, which is that people who do this are not just inconsiderate, they are calculated. Because inconsiderate is forgetting to RSVP. Inconsiderate is showing up late. What this sister-in-law did took planning. It took looking at a calendar and specifically choosing that date. And whether she wants to admit it or not, somewhere in that decision, she knew exactly what she was doing. So now, the bride has a choice. Does she say nothing and let it go, knowing that some family members are now going to skip her wedding to go to the baby shower? Does she make a huge scene and risk looking like the difficult one? Or does she get creative? And oh, my friend, she gets creative. Because here is where the revenge part of this story comes in, and it is so satisfying that I need you to take a breath before I tell you, because it is genuinely brilliant. The bride decides that she is not going to make a big public fuss. She is not going to send a heated message in the group chat. She is not going to call the sister-in-law and scream at her, even though she absolutely would be entitled to. Instead, she starts making calls. Quiet, strategic, targeted calls. She calls the family members who she knows were planning to attend the baby shower, the ones who had already said they would go to both but clearly were going to have to choose. And she reminds them that her venue has a strict headcount for catering purposes and that she needs to finalize numbers. She does it nicely, professionally, but the implication is clear. She needs to know who is coming to her wedding, and if they are going to the baby shower instead, she needs to know now so she can give their seat to someone who will actually be there. Now this does a few things at once. First, it forces people to actually make a decision and commit, rather than keeping one foot in each camp. Second, it gives the bride real information about who is actually in her corner. And third, and this is the part that Charlotte completely loses it over, it suddenly makes the baby shower feel very real and very consequential in a way it had not before. Because when people start getting these calls, and they have to actually say out loud, "I'm choosing the baby shower over the wedding," a lot of them suddenly get very uncomfortable. Because saying it out loud to the bride herself is very different from just quietly assuming everything will work out. And most of them choose the wedding. Not all of them. There are a couple of relatives on the husband's side who go to the baby shower, and we will get to them. But the majority of the family confirms for the wedding and the baby shower, which the sister-in-law had been planning to be this grand, lavish, well-attended event, ends up being attended by about a third of the people she expected. But the bride is not done. Because she also makes one more very quiet, very deliberate decision. She and her fiancé decide that the baby shower can happen. They are not going to try to stop it, but they are also not going to be sending a gift. And they are not going to be attending any subsequent event. No baby's first birthday, no gender reveal, nothing. Until the sister-in-law acknowledges what she did and apologizes. Not a fake, performative apology. A real one. And Charlotte's take on this is so good because she talks about how the most powerful thing you can do when someone tries to provoke you into a dramatic blow-up is to simply withdraw quietly. Because a dramatic confrontation is actually what the sister-in-law wanted. She wanted to be fought over. She wanted the family drama. She wanted to be the center of a conflict that would dominate the wedding period and make everyone feel like they had to choose sides and manage the situation. And by refusing to give her that, by simply being calm and deliberate and clear about her own boundaries, the bride took all the power away from her. The wedding, by the way, is absolutely beautiful. Almost everyone is there. The people who chose the baby shower over the wedding are conspicuously absent, and while that stings in the moment, the bride says that it also showed her exactly who those people are and what she means to them. That is painful, yes, but it is also genuinely useful information to have. Because now she knows, and knowing protects you. The baby shower, meanwhile, is apparently quite awkward. Not because anything goes wrong exactly, but because there are not that many people there, and the sister-in-law clearly expected a bigger turnout. She had a big venue booked, lots of decorations, catering for way more people than showed up, and the whole thing has this weird hollow energy because half the people who were supposed to be there are at a wedding that same day. Imagine setting up a dramatic power play and having it just kind of fizzle out because most people chose the other event. That is poetic justice in its most beautiful form. Now, let's talk about the aftermath, because the story does not end with the wedding, and that is important. After the baby is born, the sister-in-law starts to notice the chill. The bride and her new husband are not reaching out. They are not coming over. They are not sending gifts or showing up for holidays with the same warmth they used to. And the sister-in-law starts to figure out that something has changed. So she does what a lot of people in her position do, which is that she goes to other family members and starts complaining that the bride is being cold and distant and making things difficult. And here is where it comes full circle, because the bride has already had those quiet conversations with the family members she called before the wedding. She did not make a dramatic announcement. She did not send a manifesto. She just, over time, when it naturally came up, told her truth calmly and clearly. She simply told people what happened in her own words without emotion or performance and let them draw their own conclusions. And because she had not been the one screaming and making scenes, she came across as credible and measured. And most of the family, when they heard her side, understood completely. The sister-in-law eventually does try to apologize. It is not a great apology. It is more of a, "I'm sorry you felt that way," than a, "I'm sorry for what I did," and the bride sees it for exactly what it is. She accepts it graciously, because she is not a person who likes to hold on to things forever, but she is also clear with herself that this relationship has fundamentally changed. She is cordial. She is civil. But she is no longer in the inner circle, and that, honestly, is fine. Not every family relationship has to be close. Some of them just have to be functional. Charlotte's conclusion on the whole thing is really worth sitting with, because she makes the point that so often when we talk about revenge stories, we focus on the big dramatic moment, the confrontation, the blow-up, the clapback. And those are satisfying in a very immediate, visceral way. But some of the most effective and genuinely satisfying revenge is the kind that happens slowly and quietly. The kind that is really just you choosing yourself. The bride did not blow up the sister-in-law's baby shower. She did not make a scene at her own wedding. She did not send an explosive group chat message. She simply moved forward with her life in a way that made her own priorities clear and let the consequences of the sister-in-law's choices fall naturally where they were always going to fall. That is the thing about people who try to steal your spotlight or undermine your moments. They are usually counting on you to either crumble or explode. Because if you crumble, they win. And if you explode, they get to say you are the problem, The third option, the one they never see coming, is that you just keep going. You plan your wedding. You have the most beautiful day of your life. You walk down that aisle and you marry the person you love, surrounded by the people who actually showed up. And you let the rest of it be what it is. There's something about this story that I think resonates so deeply with so many of us, because most of us have had at least one person in our lives who did something like this. Maybe not this exact thing, but something in this spirit. Something that was a little too deliberate to be an accident, wrapped in just enough plausible deniability to be difficult to call out. And when you are in the middle of it, it is so hard to know what to do, because you do not want to be the person who makes a scene, but you also do not want to just let it go and pretend it did not happen. And what this bride did is basically the gold standard of how you handle it. You document, you keep your cool, you make your calls, you finalize your head count, you have your wedding, and then you quietly, permanently adjust your level of investment in that relationship based on what that person showed you they were capable of. No drama, no ultimatums, just clarity. Charlotte absolutely nails it when she says that this story is not really about the baby shower or the wedding. It is about a woman who tried to make herself bigger by making someone else smaller, and a bride who refused to be made smaller. That is the whole story. Everything else is just details. And I have to say, as someone who covers these kinds of stories regularly, what makes this one particularly compelling is the symmetry of it. The sister-in-law chose the wedding date to make the baby shower feel important, and in doing so, she actually made herself and her baby shower much less important to most of the family because she showed them who she was. She revealed her hand, and once people see that, they cannot unsee it. That is the real consequence she is living with now, and no apology or birthday party or holiday gathering is going to fully undo it. If you are watching this and you are in the middle of something like this, some family member who is trying to dim your light, some person who is scheduling their drama directly on top of your joy, I want you to take what this bride did and hold on to it. You do not have to fight for the spotlight. You do not have to justify your happiness or defend your timeline or prove that your moment deserves to exist. You just have to keep going, keep planning, keep showing up for yourself. And let the people who are worth keeping up with show you by their actions that they deserve a seat at your table. Because in the end, the wedding was beautiful. The marriage is strong. The people who mattered showed up. And the sister-in-law? She has a baby shower story that nobody talks about, and a relationship with her brother and his wife that will never quite be what it could have been, because she chose a moment of pettiness over a lifetime of family. And that is a price she is going to be paying for a long time. Thank you so much for watching. If this story got your blood pumping even a little bit, do me a favor and smash that like button, because it genuinely helps this channel more than you know. And if you are new here, welcome, subscribe, because we do this every single week, and some of the stories coming up are even more unhinged than this one, and I cannot wait to share them with you. Drop in the comments below what you would have done if you were in the bride's position, because I feel like there are 1,000 different ways this could have gone, and I want to know what you think. I will see you in the next one.